The good hand traps. Are you running them, or are you still stuck in last format? Hey guys, this is Tom Box. Thanks for tuning into MST.TV. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I've been playing a little bit too much Master Duel, so I kind of fell behind on UCG, the Ultimate Counter Guide. But that's okay. Consider today's video as a little bit of a taste test towards that. I just need a little bit more time to test out the last remaining deck of the current format to really get an understanding of the ins and outs of the deck so we can properly counter these things, because I just love reverse engineering all that stuff, right? So hopefully you guys hit that thumbs up and hit subscribe and ding that notification bell for the upcoming video, and let's bring down the chalkboard. Into hand trap number 1. Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre wasn't good enough previously because there just wasn't enough impact on the matchups, and there just wasn't even enough matchups for you to even consider putting it into your deck. Well, however, that changes now because Ghost Ogre, thanks to E-Tele going to 3, this card can activate on the field for 1, but there's also a lot more matchups that require stuff being on the field for them to resolve properly. And because of that, and thanks to the ban list, there's even more of those matchups available. So for some of the basic stuff we would hit, it's like Appaloosa. Appaloosa needs to reduce attack to properly negate the effect of a monster. But if you destroy it with Ghost Ogre, say you chain to the Appaloosa, Appaloosa dies, there's no attack reduction, therefore your effect will continue to go through because it's not a cost, it's part of the effect. And that's one real good case. So just simply having an emergency teleport, putting it on the field, you've answered one of the biggest problems on the field already. So moving on to the adventure stuff, we have Fateful Adventure and we have the Wandering Griffin Rider. Both of these cards, again, because Fateful Adventure is a continuous spell, it needs to stay up on the field to resolve. So if you Ghost Ogre and chain to its effective search, you get to pop it and they won't get the search. That will block the Griffin Rider and the Draco back. To me, that's a 2-for-1. As for the Griffin Rider, it doesn't have a cost to shuffle back into the deck. That's part of its effect. If it does not shuffle back into the deck, it will not be able to negate the card or effect that it's trying to chain to. That is also very key. So simply by having an emergency teleport, you kind of take care of some of the negators on the field. Now, Ghost Ogre is also good against other various popular matchups, such as Virtual World. You have the opportunity to pop the Chuche before the Chuche pops you. Like all continuous spells and traps, if it is removed off of the field, it will not be able to resolve properly. You know, it's just a little bit of a performance anxiety issue. Next, there is the Sword Soul. Sword Soul, you can use it to pop the Moye or the Taya. It's up to you, but you have to make a judgment call whether or not your opponent is running the Heavenly Dragon Circle. I kind of moved off of that package myself after seeing how the Punk version worked. It's really unnecessary to have that card, but it's still a good way to dodge. And you can still use it to play Shathana, so make a judgment call on that one. There's other cards that you can potentially hit in that deck instead. If you're going to be dealing with the Punk variant, I think you could probably wait. If they're starting with the Punk cards, like they played E-Tele or something along those lines, you can use it to hit the Needle Fiber. Because the extra deck does not contain any way to generate any more machines, so going into Auroradon seems like an impossibility if you just hit Needle Fiber. Like, give them their tuner, that's fine, give them their Despot 01. They are not going into the Auroradon, and therefore you might even skip their turn, especially if they start their turn that way. But let's keep in mind, they do have a pretty broken opening, which starts with Baron, so that's a little bit of a limitation. This format, you need 2 hand traps to truly stop your opponent, but at least 2 hand traps should be enough. For just a quick mention of other matchups, we can look at Eldritch, which there isn't anything to really hit, sorry, but Drytron, you can probably hit their Mu Beta, or even hit Diviner if you don't want them to go into Beatrice. And there's also Sky Striker, you can hit multi-roll. There's just something for everything and when it comes to Ghost Ogre. So Ghost Ogre is a very, very good hand trap this format. The second most useful hand trap that you guys must play in your main deck or your side deck has got to be Artifact Lancia. I think Lancia is just really, really powerful against anything that plays the adventure token package stuff because it prevents the Water Enchantress from activating in the hand or in the graveyard. So that prevents the Rite of Aramesir to get loaded into the hand. However, this is also kind of like 50-50 because what if they already opened the rights in their hand to begin with? And in that case, that Lancia is going to have minimal effect. However, a lot of the decks that use rights in the adventure token package are technically affected, except for maybe Prank Kids. Against PK, you shut down their entire graveyard. That just prevents them from being able to use any of their summon spamming capabilities. Against Virtual World, you stop them from using Qinglong, and you stop them from basically using their Chuche. Against Sword Soul, you prevent the Tenyis from banishing, but you have to consider the scenario. If you guys haven't seen the Punk Sword Soul, I highly recommend you guys check it out because it's one of those matchups where even if you start off with a 10 you might not even need a 10 effect to build the entire board. And it's also a very scary board too. So just beware of the punk stuff, but it does prevent all the 10 stuff from activating. So if you see a Sword Soul player activating a 10 monster, putting it on the field, and then linking it off right away, then you can consider using Elancia at that point. Now, evenly match is also heavily sided, so you can even use Lancia a little bit more defensively to block against the evenly match. It's bound to land. Leaving a token on the field, remember, tokens cannot be banished face down, which means you have to leave the tokens on the field if you get evenly matched, and you don't get the choice anymore. And that's going to create a heavy limitation. That Brave token isn't going to be that great at that point. It's going to be your liability. And against Virtual World, just be careful of Psyframe Gear Gamma, because if you Lancia at the wrong time, you're going to leave yourself way worse off than where you have started. Hand trap number 3 is the anti-draw and search drawn Lockbird. So there's just a bunch of matchups. I don't have enough space on this chalkboard to cover it all, so let's just talk about Phantom Knights. Hit them on the boots, the cloak, or the Water Enchantress Search. Water Enchantress Search is probably one of the more important ones in my opinion because it prevents the Griffin from being searched and prevents Draco back from being searched, limiting hand advantage, and also makes the boots and cloak rather useless. Next, Sword Soul. If they play Vessel or Heaven Circle, then you should be able to hit them there. If they play Emergence, also another great hit. But if they do their first one as a Moye Synchro, then I'm sorry, that's probably the least effective one. But hey, if they're playing the punk stuff, you also can use that as an opportunity, especially when they use Zeman. If they use Zeman, they get that search. You can usually block everything else off, and the Moye and any sort of synchro that happens afterwards all become completely washed up. So for Sword Soul, that's great. Against Sky Striker, you can hit them on the Engage, the Area 0, Upstart. I think you can even hit them on the Metaphos Fusion if they have that. Against Eldritch, I don't think Eldritch is a good choice, to be honest, because Eldritch, I think they just play the one draw, and it could be a pot of extravagance, and then kind of just move on. So that one's kind of like mediocre. Against the Virtual World, there's Lulu, there's Qinglong, there's Pod Cards, there's Stardust Charge Warrior. There's a long list of stuff that leads to like even more stuff. So even hitting at any point, as long as they're still mid-combo, you're good to go. You're preventing a lot of stuff from happening. Like even Coral Dragon getting like synchroed off or linked off. It's just something that matters there. Then there's also the Invoke package. Hit them on the Meltdown, all the Dogmatica stuff. You just want to hit them with the Droll so that the board is much more manageable. All right, so that's Droll for you. Before I get into the fourth hand trap, check us out at MSTmerch.com to get your hands on some awesome TCG accessories. You guys can get some sleeves. There's mats. There's even oversleeves, and oversleeves come in 2 different textures on their back. It's only the one side that is smooth or rough, but the matte side, the rough mats, they are fantastic. They do not, wreck the image, and they even fit on some other TCG accessory sleeves as well that are Japanese card size. It's a perfect fit. Yeah, that's one of the most commonly asked questions. Of course, it fits on our own stuff as well. So yeah, check it out. See how the artwork is still completely fine. That's what we're here for, and it will help you protect your sleeves. We also have OG Orange and Alpha Blue as our foil sleeves. We even have tournament edition sleeves, such as the Carbon Series White, and you guys told me to do a little bit of a product demo for you guys, so I sleeved up that whole Dark Magician deck, and we're gonna fan it out. This is really good. Like, it's super smooth and has one of the best shuffle feels out there in the entire market. So check us out at MSTmerch.com so you guys can get your hands on some of this stuff as well. Thank you for your support. Hand trap number 4 is going to be Russell, our DD Crow. Get it? Russell Crow? Okay, sorry, we're not going to talk about this ever again. It's DPE and Scythe as the key 2 targets that you want to get rid of, but it does have applications for other matchups. But to be quite frank with you guys, Crow only works when there are 2 disruptions when it comes to handling DPE Scythe. Both of them kind of come hand in hand, and you can only really stop one of them. But when it comes to like the PK package, dumping the Water Enchantress with Cherubini, what you can do is you can banish the Water Enchantress by using the DD Crow. That might prevent the entire adventure package stuff from coming off, so you have a DP and a Scythe, but there's no negation, which makes maybe a second Crow also effective against your opponent. Or you had Nibiru, you force them to Nibiru, they force them to negate your Nibiru, and then you Crow away the other problem because they got rid of the Griffin. Again, everything needs to be paired with something, or else it's not really going to be the most effective. effective. Even if you have Droplet. Droplet, like, we know that there are ways for them to play around the Droplet because they can just chain Fog Blade and then they chain their DPE and do the whole popping thing. You gotta time yourself right when it comes to like the Scythe summon and when you need to actually negate something. It's pretty difficult, and DPE being able to pop Scythe on their own activation, removing it off the board so that Droplet doesn't even work. That is another like 500 IQ play that they can do against you. Just be very careful. In terms of other applications, there's Ray, there's Eldritch. You can banish the Golden Lord, you can banish Ray, you can banish Engage, Ashuna. There's just a little bit of Crow for everyone. And finally, Ash Blossom, Joyous Spring. Definitely not as effective as last form. I mean, now we don't even have like desires to hit anymore. But against Eldritch, you can hit Sanguine, chain it to the Sanguine when they're going to do their whole Sanguine play. Still be careful of their skill drain. Fusion Destiny is one, of course, the best hit. Christian Halki Fibrax is worth it when it comes to like the Sword Soul package, because if they're using Punk package to do it, they don't really have many machines to go into, and they definitely need that Despot 01 to be able to play. If they have a normal summon, I'd be a bit more skeptical, but if they have normal summoned, 100% just drop it there, and they're going to be stuck with that Needle Fiber, and they can't do anything with it. Against Sword Soul, against the Water Lady, the Enchantress, it's 50-50. I can't give you a for sure answer on this one. This one's a bit of a mystery to me, because what if they already hard open it? This is like Invoker situation all over again. Is it Meltdown that you hit, or is it the Invoker itself? Is it Alistair on the normal summon? It's hard to hit, to be honest. I mean, you can Ash the Faithful Venture when it adds the Griffin, or you can hit the Lady entirely and prevent the whole scenario from even occurring. I think if you want to be safe, you might have to wait a little bit and just let them have the Faithful Adventure, and they're probably still going to search Draco back, which is why Ash is like not the best card against it, but you might find yourself in a 25% scenario where it was really good. Against Virtual World, you can Lulu and Qinglong, and that's really about it. There's not really too much. And against Sword Soul, you can definitely hit the Emergence, the Ashuna. I would not recommend hitting the Punk stuff. I think Christian Huggy Fibrax is better if you're going to hit the Punk stuff, because that's where it actually hurts. That prevents their play from even advancing. And that's kind of the rundown of the hand traps right now. I think there's, of course, every other deck also has some way to hit in some way or form. Against PK, hit their first like Link Summon material when they're activating the graveyard, just prevent them from going off. It's funny when it works, because you know that has always been a problem. However, they could start off with the Brave stuff, and then Ash doesn't work anymore. Like, Brave is ruining everything for everyone, and with the Scythe Lock still being there, it's making the Scythe Lock stronger than ever. That's all I got for this video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys can smash that thumbs up button if you guys learned something, got a little bit of insight. If you guys want to leave your comments down in the comment section of things you agreed with or things that you would like to enlighten me with, I'd be more than happy to read it. And if you guys want to stay tuned for the upcoming Ultimate Counter Guide multi-part series, smash that subscribe button and ding that notification bell, and it will come up as soon as I get to play that final deck, I suppose. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.